Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone. My name is Kathy. We have received some communications from various members of the public regarding the fact that it appears Mr. Kohberger was identified as a suspect much earlier than the Moscow Police Department by and through Detective Brett Payne testified at a hearing back on January 23rd, 2025, when he stated under oath upon examination by Mr. Kohberger's attorney that Mr. Kohberger's name did not come up on the radar until the evening of December 19th, 2022. Amongst the documents that were just released by the ISP within the past few weeks is a 5-page document. It is dated December 5th, 2022. It is entitled Idaho State Police Forensic Services Evidence Submission Report. And Mr. Kohberger's name is listed here as a suspect, one of two suspects, on this date of December 5th, 2022. But before we get to page 2, let's just do a little bit of background information in looking at page number 1 of this form. We see here that this document was submitted on the 5th of December 20. An evidence submission receipt. What this appears to be is it is documentation, it is official records from the Idaho State Police Forensic Services Department in Meridian, who was tasked with conducting forensic testing at the request of the Moscow Police Department. They were the submitting agency. That's where the crimes happened. 1122 King Road in Moscow. That's who invited in the ISP to do a number of other tasks, such as processing of the crime scene, which they did, commencing November 13th, 2022. They also conducted interviews of witnesses, of suspects. They conducted surveillance. They were involved in going into Mr. Kohberger's apartment on December 30th, 2022, and collecting evidence on the day of his arrest across the country in Pennsylvania. So they were intimately involved in this investigation. Going back to their role as conducting forensic testing on behalf of the Moscow Police Department, we see here on this 5-page document that, again, the date received December 5th, 2022. This is approximately 3 weeks after the crimes occurred on November 13th, 2022. We see here the submitting agency, Moscow Police Department. The date of the offense, date of the crimes, November 13th, 2022. Unaliving is what the charge is. The county of the offense, Latah County. Moscow is located in Latah County, Idaho. Now, the investigating officer, the person who it is believed submitted this evidence for testing to the Idaho State Police, and this is an educated guess here, Dustin Blaker. His email address is provided here. This is a name that should be very familiar to you, dating back to the very first document in the case, the affidavit of probable cause that was signed by Detective Brett Payne on December 29th, 2022, asked for Mr. Kohberger's arrest, was the basis for finding probable cause and issuance of the arrest warrant on that day, again, the 29th day of December 2022. Dustin Blaker's name appears page 1 of the affidavit of probable cause, where Detective Payne is giving some background that he arrived at 1122 King Road at approximately 4:00 p.m. on the 13th of November, and he traveled with Sergeant Blaker. He is now Captain Blaker for the Moscow Police Department. So at the bottom of this page, we see in red the notation: upon submission of evidence to an Idaho State Police Forensic Services laboratory, the submitting agency agrees to the terms and conditions established in the customer agreement. The customer agreement may be viewed, downloaded at, and then there's information where this sounds like it's a standard contract that the submitting agency here, the Moscow Police Department, has agreed to in retaining the Idaho State Police to perform these services. We go to page 2, and we see here there appears to have been, on December 5th, 2022, at least as it relates to this information submitted by the Moscow Police Department to the Idaho State Police, along with evidence to be tested, there were two suspects. One name is redacted. Suspect block is checked there. Directly underneath, second name, suspect, Brian Kohberger. His date of birth is, like the first suspect, redacted here. And then there's information regarding not suspects, but subjects. These may, giving an educated guess here, speculation, may be people that were spoken to, that were not suspects, that were not formal persons of interest, but were others. They're listed, as we see, going through the rest of page number 2, into page number 3, all of these names, all redacted. Continuing on to page number 4, the first 4 names are again listed as subjects here. And then we see the victims, names that are all too familiar to you if you've been following this case: Madison, Xana, Ethan, and Kaylee. And it is unclear why they're listed in that way, with Madison first, then Xana, and then Ethan, and then Kaylee. And then finally, if we get to the bottom of page number 4, it appears that this is submission number 7, so there would have been 6 prior submissions that the Moscow Police Department would have made to the Idaho State Lab to test things. And here we see what's being submitted now, beginning with item number 45, that's a swab, item number 46, a swab, and then we go into the next page, 3 more items in this batch, another swab, number 47, number 48, 2 swabs from, and then finally number 49, swab from. And the names of, they call them donors, the people that the swabs were taken from, are all redacted here. So this pretty much is what was submitted to the Idaho State Police, this 5-page form, by the Moscow Police Department, providing the public with information that it appears that on or before the 5th of December 2022, that Mr. Kohberger was a suspect, a formal suspect in the case. If you have any comments, any thoughts, any opinions, please leave them here. And until next time, this is Kathy. As always, thank you very much for joining us here today.